When you say kicked, you literally mean this man was walking in circles, kicking rattlesnakes around like it was like trash on the ground.
This is From the Ground Up, the story of me starting my reptile business. So we have the Instagram Live going and the Facebook Live going.
First time at night.
Let's see which one crashes first. We
Facebook.
haven't gotten through. We haven't gotten through one without either or both crashing.
Who cares?
Whether my phone
Life happens.
lights on fire or your
Computer dies, but I got a
laptop
charger
dies.
this time, so
Yeah.
we're fine. Don't talk about the negatives. Positives.
So there's going to be nothing positive.
In this podcast, it's going to be the negative podcast.
It's going to be the negative podcast.
Sorry,
but
y'all. It's going to be negative, but it's going to...
hopefully informative.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about us going to Sweetwater this weekend.
Sweetwater, Texas.
Right. And then, so I guess I should give background of what a rattlesnake roundup is, I guess, if people don't know what it is.
Go for it.
So every year it happens throughout the southeast, but now primarily what's going on is the Sweetwater is one of the only kill rattlesnake roundups that are left. And so, I mean, 2 years ago, 2016, they actually had 24,000 pounds of rattlesnakes that they have hunters come in and give them rattlesnakes for them to slaughter, basically put on public display and skin for the public and stuff like that.
Now, when you say hunters, you
Right.
mean, are these like special level people, or just people, anyone can come in and be a hunter and give them snakes to kill?
I believe that they do need a hunting permit
Okay.
to hunt them.
Hunt.
Yeah, but the way that they hunt them is they basically go to any den or holes that they suspect there's going to be rattlesnakes in, and they pour gasoline down, and then the gasoline forces out the rattlesnakes and anything that's living in the den, leaving, gasoline behind that can affect, any species that potentially uses a den or a hole in the ground.
So that just sounds like anyone could do that. And,
I mean,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what they interviewed Jack Bibby, and he's like one of the most famous rattlesnake roundup guys. He does all the stunts. Like, he has one leg because he's been bitten by a rattlesnake, stuff like that.
What?
He does, like, puts rattlesnakes in his mouth and is in a tub of rattlesnakes and stuff like that.
Wait, what?
So the way he actually kind of turned a corner and is talking about how they shouldn't use gas anymore. And he was saying, someone who is not keen on rattlesnakes and how it works, and, someone who doesn't know the landscape and know how to hunt them, he's going to know where dens are and stuff like that. And then less experienced people are not, so they can just pour gas down every hole.
Any hole they see.
Yeah, so basically if you're an experienced hunter, then, I mean, it puts more, at least make it some type of fair game.
But so he still supports the roundup itself. He just wants to advocate for different practices for it.
Right, yeah. I mean, he doesn't exactly advocate. He just is a little bit indifferent. I mean, I didn't see him there.
Yeah, I don't know who he is, but I didn't see
he
him
might not
big.
be allowed there anymore, to be honest, because they're pretty
restrictive on who they
yeah,
want coming in.
yeah, they're pretty protective about their whole thing. And I mean, I guess I understand. It's not like those guys were mean, terrible people. It's that they grew up in a culture where that's what happened every year.
That's acceptable, and it's just what it
happened
is.
every year in March. And, they may not have... I don't know if you've ever met, like, real hunters who...
I haven't, but...
Right. But, real hunters who are responsible and the thing is with hunting, most states don't allow you to like bait deer and stuff like that. And even if you do, you have, tag limits.
Right.
And then you don't want to shoot every deer that you see. You wait for, the deer that you're looking for, or
Right.
big deer.
Are there tag limits?
Take them.
On
There's
rattlesnakes?
0 limits on rattlesnakes.
What about only rattlesnakes are 0 limits? Or are there 0 limits
Texas
on other?
Parks and Wildlife considers them a nuisance animal.
Got it.
Which doesn't really make any sense if it's a natural occurring species. If it's an indigenous species, I don't think it can ever be a nuisance. People deem them dangerous, but
I think some squirrels are nuisances, but I'm not going to say let's go have a fucking roundup and kill them all.
Right. and also another thing is maybe bag limits would be a good appropriate step. But I mean, first of all, banning gassing, because that would bring it down a little. But who's going to adhere to that law?
There's no.
You never know.
There's no police going out.
There's not.
No.
It would be hard to enforce.
Definitely.
Especially at the amounts that people are going out and getting them.
What was the total for last year?
The total last year was 24,000 pounds. So why that happened is a particularly warm winter, and then also some heavy rain before it warmed up, which basically made all the rattlesnakes more active. But and then this year, I mean, they only took 8,000 pounds, but they received 16,000 and turned around, the other 8,000. Which, what does a guy in West Texas do with all the rattlesnakes?
What are all these comments? I can't read them.
Yeah, and then Evan's saying that they say that they don't gas.
But, right, there's no way to double check that.
Plus, it's not illegal, so who's to say it's wrong besides your common fucking sense?
And their conscience, which we know isn't like...
They see, I mean, some people see the land as being something for humans to exploit.
Okay.
It's a way of looking at things.
There was actually, I don't remember, on the Sweetwater website, there was something like in their creed, it talked about like power of humans or something like that. And
yeah, man is above all.
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't realize that the environment supports man existing in the first place, and you kind of have to be a steward of that and keep it around for generations to come.
My thing is simple. Like, if they're not bothering you, like, why are you going out and seek? You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing it for eating. They're for your well-being.
Well, they do supposedly eat the meat and stuff like that, and they were serving fried rattlesnakes.
Oh yes.
But who wants fucking meat that's contaminated after being
gassed?
Like,
that sounds very unhealthy. Well, I do remember looking in the schedule. There is a rattlesnake eating competition.
Right.
Just all the best people of America were at, I bet.
And then, what happens when the rattlesnake population goes down? What do rattlesnakes eat? Nuisance fucking animals, which are rats.
So you're just going to have more rats around.
Right. And then what do rats bring around is disease, rodent-borne diseases, as well as ticks that are on them, fleas, all that kind of stuff. So it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I could see where there would be, responsible hunting or bag limits. I don't see a problem with that. It's the way that they do it in many ways.
Yeah, that's even if there were bag limits, I think I would have walked away feeling just as, like,
the
torn
whole
up
thing
inside.
Is that when you get to Sweetwater, there's different pits. And there's, they have, like, an educational, in quotation marks, pit. And,
right.
Where they have, like, the snake pop a balloon, all this other shit, and then they have a milking pit where the milking pit seemed to be just a place where they picked up rattlesnakes and put it around people's necks.
Well, first,
that was pretty much all they did.
These
there.
Guys would bring in this huge trash can, basically, or tub like thing of rattlesnakes.
Right.
One guy, first they would clean their hands with Windex. Remember that? That's how they're cleaning their hands before they handled the snake. They would spray Windex on their hand because that's
antibacterial, and that's the way you fucking do it.
That's what you should do. And then they would take it, and then they take that metal like hook thing to press its head down.
Right.
What was that doing?
They just took like a snake hook just to pin it down.
Still.
Yeah. But the thing is, they were using that, pinning it down pretty much as hard as possible so it wouldn't move at all. With no care of what was going on.
I think it was part for show. Everything, show people, ooh, let me pin this down. And then they would grab it by its head with its mouth open and stick it on that. I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, it's like it's a thing to milk the snake. One of those little jars. And basically, they say that that's going to venom research. And
yeah, a little plastic tub of venom.
I have video of asking the guy, and then... I asked him, what does that venom go for, go towards? And he goes, oh, medical research to make anti-venom and stuff like that. I'm like, is this considered a sterile environment for medical research? And he says, well, we put it in a centrifuge and get out all the bad stuff. But that's not really how the process works. You don't, whenever, I don't know, it'd be like getting blood from someone, fucking dirtying it, and then being like, oh, we'll just clean it up later to put it in someone.
It's okay that we dirtied it.
It's not first. What happens.
And I mean, it was just sitting there in a tub, like.
And then there's also like the advocates for snake preservation. I think that's what what they're called. But they have got in touch with all the people who are sourcing anti-venom, and there's so many places like the Kentucky Reptile Zoo who have responsibly sourced medical grade, venom that they can use to make anti-venom.
They don't need these people.
They don't need the fucking Sweetwater hillbilly anti-venom, but that's something that they can do, say that they're, contributing to...
That's how they justify it,
Right, and there's a bunch of different ways. If you look on the JC's websites, they're the fucking...
Question, what are JCs?
I don't know.
It said the JC Sweetwater Rattlesnake. I don't know what the fuck the JCs are, but...
it seems like some type of non-profit organization type thing
club.
That they try to say that they're, doing all these things for kids and doing all this other stuff, and all the money's going towards all these nice things, which is fine, but I think you can put on a festival...
An educational one.
Right. And the way that they harvest the snakes, as far as they do the milking pit, they have everyone touch the rattle, stressing a snake. If you're going to responsibly harvest an animal, you do it as quickly as possible. You don't have people go hunting for the last month, bag them up, and wait for the day of to hand them in. Mm-hmm. They didn't go get... You saw those teams, and they were putting in, there was one team who put in, over 2,500 pounds of snake. They didn't just catch those the day of.
Oh, they've been collecting them for a while leading up to it. And it's they're not keeping them.
And they're not, they're not getting adequate water or adequate,
No, they're starving the animals because they know they're going to eventually going to be killed. So why put in the effort to take care of it if it's just going to be killed?
Right.
They have no
care. And then without even that into account, the next thing they do is put them in a pit where a guy goes and kicks them around and picks some of them up, and
just another thing, entertainment thing for
just
people.
Something that doesn't need to happen.
And when you say kick, you literally mean this man was walking in circles, kicking rattlesnakes around like it was trash on the ground.
Right.
And just showing people and letting people touch it.
And that's when they say, oh, that's the pit where they measure and weigh them for Texas Parks and Wildlife and all that other stuff, which may be true, but I think Texas Parks and Wildlife is partly funded by the JCs in Sweetwater. I'm sure they must be getting some type of money in order. There's no scientist that could say this is okay. If there's some type of conservation biologist somewhere at Texas Park and Wildlife, there's no way that they can say, oh yeah, this is definitely good.
And they might not, at least when we were there, I didn't see any representative from Texas Park and Wildlife. They could have come on another day, but you would think if they support this, that they would have someone there to see what's going on. But could have happened another time. But I also don't think they would support kicking around just
Well,
snakes.
they know that this is happening. It's been happening for, over 50 years.
So they just don't care?
It's something that's so deeply rooted that it's hard to just straight up say no. Plus, it brings so much money into that community that it's hard to tell them just to stop. Which is why they could easily just, how many like cool morphs of rattlesnakes there are? Like, you could just have, show off all these breeders in Texas that have like awesome looking rattlesnakes and have the public come in and look at them. But the thing is, they also make money on the
sale. It's the sales. I mean, let me think. Okay, we saw rattlesnake canes, rattlesnake shoes, wallets, hats, belts, rattlesnake oil. Don't know what that is for.
People also pay to skin the rattlesnakes,
which was by far the worst pit and the worst form of animal handling I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Ever. Like, I went into this having no true, I mean, honestly, I didn't feel for rattlesnakes going into this. I gotta be honest. Like, I was just like, okay, we're gonna go see some, crazy shit. But I didn't it didn't really affect me before I went into it. But walking in for the hour and a half we were there, I was between crying and throwing up the entire time.
Right.
I've never felt that much sadness for another animal in my life. Watching people literally just cut the heads off, hang them from their tail, clip them up, and then just pull out the insides and throw it away like it's, I can't even think of a metaphor or whatever,
right. And who's doing that? It's the J-teens.
Oh, also
the kids.
Miss Snake Charmer pageant winner who did it. Yeah, she wore her crown and her sash while skinning a rattlesnake. That just sounds, it felt so
her bloody handprint on the wall
backwards to me. Like, and this is a girl thing. Like, they all had their nails done, had gotten their nails done, and like all this makeup, and then they're gonna go skin.
That's like a Texas thing where you have that girl who's like all pretty, and then she has like a picture with like a lion
that she just killed. Yeah, I'll never understand that. Like, let's go get pretty to go do this gross stuff.
I think some guys just like that kind of thing.
Like, made up
those same guys who
were at the
who are the reason why they do it in the first place. Yeah,
that's just
I don't know though, but
yeah. You sorry, go. You also said something about the bloody wall. We should explain that.
Oh yeah, so after they skin the rattlesnake, and I have video of the woman like massaging blood out of the body in order to
drop it on
put
the guy's
dude's hands. And then, like, kids of all ages are doing this.
Yeah, so it's like the Miss Snake Charmer and all of them, they were required. But
they were also, like, from 12 to, like, 17.
Oh, yeah, young people.
And then even younger kids.
Anyone who wanted to stand in line could come up and do what they want and skin it and then put their bloody handprint. And it was a conquest. Like, I did this, Let me sign my name under my handprint.
Smiling.
Like, so happy about it. And just, I couldn't. Like, I was standing there the whole time, like, do our brains work the same? Like,
right.
Are we living in the same state right now? Do I live in the same state with people like this? Like,
yes.
Unfortunately. And I'm not trying to cast a shadow on all of Texas, because obviously this doesn't represent all of Texas. But the whole time, I just couldn't believe that there were people that this is normal to them. Right. And I don't want to fault them because they grew up, they grew up like that, What's normal to me is walking down the street with a beer because I grew up with that because that's New Orleans. Not like that's anywhere near, skinning a snake.
Disgusting behavior.
It's not disgusting behavior. It may lead to some disgusting behavior. But, they grew up with it. But it's just crazy that that's a normal thing some places.
Yeah, it seems like somewhere you would say, like, this shouldn't be glorified the way it is. And it's been able to exist in a very small corner of the country, where no one's batted an eye until, recently. They've gotten a lot of heat the last probably 3 or 4 years or so.
What do you think's brought it on? Like
the fucking internet. Like, it's hard. The world's so much smaller that things like these are going to start going away. Just like that Chinese dog thing. No one knew about that Chinese dog eating festival.
I have no idea what you're talking. I don't think I want to know. No,
yeah, but
I don't want to know.
But yeah, so it's like some festival in China, but no one knew about that until, the internet, and then people in the United States who have a totally different culture around dogs and stuff are like, we don't want that. But it turns out that people don't understand that some people have respect for all types of life, not just furry, cute animals.
Right.
Even that, have a certain respect for life either way. When you harvest a deer, you are respectful and use all the meat and use the hide. And
right, you're using it for a purpose. You're not
you don't publicly open it up and soak yourself in the blood and fucking finger paint with it. Yeah.
That's so gross. I was just so, I couldn't believe it. And then just like the trash can of the heads that were still moving.
Yeah.
That was just.
So I didn't see it happen at this roundup, but usually they put like a nail gun right into the head and then chop it off with a machete.
What?
I mean, we didn't see them actually chop off the heads at all, but we did see the bucket of the heads still moving.
Right. And
but yeah, they usually like put it onto the stump by nail gun.
Like, it's not already gross enough. It is,
right.
And then what?
It's all like a public display,
It's entertainment.
And it's for like family.
Entertainment.
Like families.
I saw mostly families there because, they put the carnival rides out there and then, all the food for kids and stuff like that to make it a family event.
Right. And then they're putting snakes, like rattlesnakes, around kids' necks, like, and having them take pictures.
Right, because that's so
like,
safe.
Who thinks that that's responsible?
They do. They think I'm trained,
Well, they're man. They have dominion over all the animals.
Yeah,
nothing could ever.
They think my
and
hands...
the fact that people don't get bit I'm sure people get bit. But
speaking of that, let's add to on the board where they, totaled up all the snakes that had been donated by the teams. They also had a section on there, the amount of snakes that were loose on the floor this year, like. That number should never be anything other than zero. It should always be 0.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I
think
it means what it means.
It said total loose on floor. Like,
right.
How else are you going to take that? Like, what? that should, and if it does happen, it shouldn't be recorded. Like, that's not something you're proud of. You pick that shit up real quick and you put it back in its pit.
Right.
Sorry, I just got real loud.
Yeah, I know. I need to level out your fucking mic.
It's okay. Stop your cursing. We're gonna get a call.
Right, from my mother.
From your mother. Kids might be listening.
Right, but. It's just, I think their rebuttal would be like, oh, well, the people who are complaining are all city folk who don't know what they're talking about.
I love that word, yuppies.
Right, or like animal activists, or...
Right, like, I'm not trying to be
PETA. No,
Jinx, I'm not trying to be PETA.
I don't even mind hunting. I think that can be done.
But I think when you try to do it for entertainment, that's when it bothers me.
That's when it gets like to a psychological level of like
something's wrong in your brain right now.
Right. Like no one's been like, oh, maybe I shouldn't make a spectacle of this.
Like,
it's just not a thought.
I just is still.
And one of their things is like, imagine your pets and stuff running around here, and there's this many rattlesnakes out here.
Oh, they think they're doing people a service?
Right, but when do you see snakes that
in
are
your
just
backyard
slithering around everywhere?
It's not, and see, that'd be a difference. They very much
don't want to be out in the open.
That would be a difference. Like, that would maybe be a nuisance. If you could walk out in your backyard and there's, that the chance for snakes is high, that could make it a nuisance. But it's so low. The possibility of someone walking out in their backyard and there being a snake any bigger than my hand is like, come on.
There's, one of the things that they say is that, they're so dangerous. But in the U.S., I believe there's under 5 fatalities a year
Really?
From snake bite.
That's nothing.
And that's not in Texas. That's like the whole country. Meaning, honestly, probably the Mojave rattlesnakes in California is probably Arizona has the most rattlesnakes, the most species, the biggest count of rattlesnakes, and 0 rattlesnake roundups, 0 kills. So, what makes West Texas the only place that they're killing people? And then it also says they're livestock. There hasn't been a recorded livestock death in 2 decades from a rattlesnake.
Really? So they're not biting people. They're not biting animals. What nuisance are they causing? What's
the guy who's kicking them?
He's causing them a nuisance. Right. I'm surprised they don't bite that guy. And none of the guys wore any sort of protective. Do they wear any sort of protective anything?
They wear like boots, but that's really all you need. I mean, they're not going to penetrate. You don't think they should have it on your hand? Even if they do.
You don't think they should have gloves?
There's no like proper glove that would give you the dexterity in order to work with a venomous snake. So you would be highly impairing your ability to handle the snake in order to protect your hand, which is kind of like it's just negating the fact that you're wearing a glove because you're making it more dangerous, you know?
Because you can't really hold it like you need to.
So there's no real, proper way to
do it.
Yeah. So the thing is, you just don't. You just
don't do it like that. You just
right.
You handle them when you need to, and you don't do anything else.
Right.
So, I'm trying to make a reason in my head of why they do it, other than it brings money into their town, and I just can't find any reason to justify it in my mind.
Oh yeah, Evan said more people die from horses and dogs.
From getting kicked or...
Yeah, I'm sure if you get kicked by a horse, you're fucking donezo, dude. Holy fuck. I don't...
But they're not a nuisance because they're cute.
Yeah.
And,
furry, man.
Furry. People love them.
Yeah, and you definitely can't slaughter them in public.
Definitely.
Although horse meat, I heard, is pretty good. I'm not against killing a horse.
For eating. Yeah. You're against having hunters kill horses to bring them and skin them.
There's countries where they,
there's countries where they eat every single animal alive.
Which is fine as long as it's sustainable.
Right. I have no problem. If you love rattlesnake meat, if that was your favorite thing and you eat it every day, I could give 2 shits. But don't go...
24,000 pounds.
Yeah, no one person's eating that. Are you
going to eat 24,000 pounds?
But, don't just go make a spectacle of it. And,
Evan said he'll eat dog, too. Which I might... If I'm in, fucking China where they do that...
No, I'm going to eat sushi all day.
Sushi. Yeah, that sounds like a stomach parasite to me. Eating sushi.
See, the fact that you're telling me Chinese people eat dog, that only... reinforces the incorrect stereotype that people have about Chinese food.
Well, I think that's kind of the stemming. They eat a lot of things.
Yeah, well, people think Chinese food is made up of dogs and cats.
Cats,
so
yeah, mostly
don't
cats.
Say that. No, we are not continuing that. That's incorrect. It is. My General Tso's is fucking chicken.
I've never seen a chicken that looks like that, but.
But we are off topic. But
yeah. Yeah, so the bottom line is I don't know who's... I mean, they had to turn people down because the market just can't sustain 24,000 pounds. Like, they obviously didn't have a buyer for it. That's what, or else they would have taken more, but they couldn't get more money.
But that venom that they're donating to research, you know, they're donating it to research. Obviously, research doesn't want it that bad.
Yeah, I mean, how much research do you need to do?
I don't know. You can always make more anti-venom.
No, for sure. But do you know how expensive the process is and how tedious the process is? Like, they don't even want to do that.
Oh, no. What are you doing?
Oh, I was just responding.
You're not typing.
Oh, damn it. How do you use this thing?
Oh, no. My computer doesn't like you. Why can't you just respond in your words?
Oh, I don't know. I thought I'm stupid because I was like, oh, I don't want to, like, interrupt the podcast. But I interrupted it anyway because I had to get up.
Because you stood up and typed, and it was way worse
So
and way weirder.
I thought we had like a train of thought going, but we don't really. We're really all over the place.
Yeah, and I can't even read what you wrote. But
I know it's hard to read. It's like tiny little print.
We gotta do different conversation. But so what I take away from Sweetwater is that they're doing it because, one, they don't see anything wrong with it.
Right.
Two, they're doing it because of all the economic benefits. Right. Because when you go on their website, that's like one of the first things, they say, like, look at our economic calendar. Like, this many people came, they spent this much dollars.
But I could do a lot of things for money.
That's the thing. I just don't know how that is how you can justify saying it brings us a lot of money when there's thousands and thousands and thousands of other things you can do to make money. Like, there's so many other options. Now, granted, Sweetwater, Texas is not a place where people are really going to...
Beautiful place with beautiful people.
Where people are going to want to come. But, like, there's still other shit they can think of other than this to make money.
World's largest chair.
Yeah, we passed that on the way there. Something like that. Like, do anything. Don't kill animals for entertainment. Those two things should never be in a sentence together.
Right. Yeah, and you would think, socially, I think the world is moving forward, dramatically.
Not in Sweetwater, Texas, clearly.
In that direction. It will come. It's just coming later than everything else. Like, that is not socially acceptable.
Progressive town.
Yeah, but that's not socially acceptable. Many other places than maybe Alabama, Oklahoma, where they do other rattlesnake roundups.
Got it.
And which are slowly, like, one in Georgia just turned to no kill this year.
Okay.
But then I believe Alabama is still kill. But it's not, none of them are close to what Sweetwater is. As far as the numbers and as far as the cruelty. Although there are some, I think they had, a few rattlesnakes where they sewed their mouths shut, which is
for
absolutely
what purpose? So they can't bite anyone?
So they can have people like just holding them. What? Which is like fucking barbaric as fuck.
What? I mean, I guess in one way it makes it safer, but in the other way it's just like way more.
Well, no, just neither should happen.
Just don't do it. Like, if you have to sew an animal's mouth shut, like, that should be a sign. Like, this is not what you should be doing. What did someone say? Just joined. What? Oh, what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about
he's gone.
The Sweetwater Rattlesnake
now. We took too long to look.
Took too long.
We gotta get better at that.
No patience up in here.
Oh, no.
I don't know. We gotta find a way where we can actually read the stuff from back here. Right now,
well, it'd be helpful if you turn your phone straight up.
Yeah, but that's not. Then I would just have just me.
Well, then we have no way to do it. I mean, on my camera, we can make it bigger by doing Control Plus, and it makes the font bigger. But on the
we've gone too far though. It's for next time. It's gonna crash.
Oh yes,
anyway.
It's always for next time. It's all for next time. But, back to what we actually should be talking about.
So just don't hold them.
So what do you think, our purpose for going there was to video it and to get the word about. What do you think it's going to take to get them to stop?
What it's going to take is, like, first of all, showing that there's economic feasibility to a no-kill show.
Okay. Like the ones in Georgia still making money.
Right, yeah. So we need to say, hey, like, and they do Rattlesnake Festival in Austin. And then be like, hey, these are bringing in this amount of money. Like, we will help you to make an interesting, educational show. Like, and even collecting a certain amount of rattlesnakes. And I could say you harvest them when there's not 40,000 people looking. If you just sustainably get a number where some actual smart conservation biologist tells you how many you can take to sustain the population, and then, do all you have to do behind closed doors. Don't do it in front of 40,000 people.
I'd be interested to know what that cap is, because to me, anything over like 100 sounds just gross to me.
Right.
The fact
and
that you're
it
killing
also depends
those,
in where everything's coming from. And they have said that they've gone all the way up to even, they keep on spreading out because it doesn't matter where you get them from as long as you have the snake.
So you can go anywhere and go.
Yeah, it's not just in fucking Sweetwater. You think they just got 24,000 pounds of snake in
people
Sweetwater?
are actually putting in effort
right.
to travel.
Where there's money, there's going to be people who put on effort to make
is that the
money.
prize? I was wondering, is the prize money? Is it a cash prize?
There is prize for the longest snake, stuff like that, but I think they pay something like...
Oh, yeah, per snake.
They pay per pound.
Snake, which is just... I don't like that.
Right, so...
You're making a business of...
No, it is a business. It's absolutely a business. But that's why you have to come to them with an economic, trade-off to saying, we're not going to bankrupt your town overnight. You got to do something. And I mean, there's anything but that really is economically or is consciously, socially,
environmentally,
everything,
biologically, any word you want to use to describe it.
Anything is better than what they're currently doing.
Than what we saw.
Right.
I mean, I wish I could really verbalize the feelings I felt. It was just so, and just the thing is, I think people, obviously they see the skinning, but I don't think they really think about what's going into it. I heard so many people being like, oh my God, rattlesnake shoes. I'm so excited. I really want one. And it's do you realize what happened for that rattle,
Yeah, and it's right in front of their face, so but for some reason
that part goes over their head.
Right. They don't see it as a regular animal. It's a snake, and people don't like snakes, and people kill every snake that they see, and that's that's prevalent all over the country. People kill any snake that they see. So what's the difference mindset. If you put 24,000 pounds of them into a pit and behead them all in front of everyone, have your kids skin it and put their bloody handprint on the wall? Not to mention, man, I'm not a total germaphobe, but I'm not doing that shit.
But that's why they have Windex, babe.
That's why they have a Windex.
Windex, what's that? My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the dad in it, he used Windex to do everything. You probably never saw that movie. But the dad, Windex solves every problem. So it also cleans your hands from snake guts and blood and inside.
Whatever the hell.
Yeah, and then you just go eat your fried rattlesnake and you say, hey to Miss Snake Charmer Queen. Mm-hmm. Just have yourself a snake-filled day.
But, it's a different world.
A world I never want to be a part of, and I wish it won't exist in the future.
Right, and it just takes more and more people realizing that it exists. I don't know, as much as I don't like PETA or agree with everything PETA says or whatever, why aren't they fucking doing anything? They have much more money, much more manpower than anyone else, and this is
and I feel they get pissy over such lower. They get pissy over such low, stuff that's on a much smaller scale.
Absolute bullshit.
And they get, go up in arms. But this, nothing.
You get nothing. You get fucking crickets. No, not literally.
There might have been some crickets literally in the snakes' bellies.
No.
What do they do with the insides, by the way, after they skin them?
Oh, nothing. They just put them in a bucket somewhere.
Throw it in the trash.
Put it in the river and pray.
Thank
you, God, for this beautiful rattlesnake innards.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't know what they do.
I do, not to get into that.
They grind it up in a meal, give it to chickens.
I don't want to, get into religion, but there were also multiple religious booths at this, so they connected to religion
West
and
Texas, so
whatever. It's
no shortage of religion, Trump, or guns. There was a gun show right next.
Yes, that's why there are so many NRA shirts. Got it.
Yeah, which is also why do you have to have these all going on at the same time?
Because the same people both of it. It's all the same people.
Maybe just spread it out a little bit. Maybe you might get a little bit more money or something. Have the carnival, in June.
No, but you can you can go to the Rattlesnake Festival, ask the dude, hey, sir, what gun did you use to kill this? Then you go buy that gun, and then you go get yourself a cross.
Oh, okay.
And your day's done.
But it's just weird that you would have like kids stuff there to bring kids. It's just really fucking weird.
Well, because they have families aren't gonna. That's how you get in the parents. Is you get in the kids. You get parents through the kids. Because parents aren't gonna want to come without the kids. Because you have to find a way to do both.
Yeah.
It's all about money. It's all about entertainment, and the snake is the least of the concerns of it.
It's just a pawn in order to get, what
they're using it. Right. They're using them, not acknowledging that this is a living being.
Well, yeah, but it's easy to do because it's playing off of people's fear and things that they've been told their whole life that, like the only good snake's a dead snake and stuff like that, and they're dangerous, and, it's like the bane of everyone's existence.
A lot of things in 2017 are showing that you play on people's fears and you win.
Right.
You win shit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's much easier to do when you're in a bubble in Sweetwater. And now I think the bubble will burst eventually. It's just a matter of time. It's like swimming upstream, dude. Like the current's obviously going one way. Mm-hmm. You're fucking on the wrong side of history if you think that you're going to. Who gives a shit? Who gives a said fucking shit in the same word? Who gives a shit?
Yeah. So hopefully, we are gonna work to get the word out and combine with other people to get the word out.
And there'll be more, more videos as time goes on. As far as I do want to make a video with me doing like a voiceover and talking about. How it's not that they're mean and evil people, all this other stuff. You have to understand where they're coming from socially, like culturally, and learn to work with them and what we can do to make this a much more reasonable event.
Right. For all. No one's saying cancel it. Right. They're just saying change how you do your stuff.
Right. And I do want to pull up. Just want to make sure this doesn't close out, but I want to pull up. There is like an FAQ. Do you have your phone?
Oh, it's over there.
Yeah. There's like an FAQ on the Rattlesnake Roundup.
Why don't you pull it up on your computer?
I'm scared that it's going to close down Audition.
But you already have Chrome open.
Yeah, but last time it stopped recording. But there's a great FAQ. I actually have it up.
What?
So it says, roundups are needed to keep rattlesnake populations in check.
And it's saying that that's a myth.
Yeah, so the fact is science does not support claims that roundups are required to prevent rattlesnake overpopulation. Like other wild animals and natural predators, snake populations are maintained by prey abundance and levels of predation and disease.
Well, I feel like that's going against them. That's saying like giving them a reason to not have the Roundup.
Right. No, this isn't a pro. This is
this is on their website. Oh, okay. It's on a different website. No. Okay.
And then myth: rattlesnake roundups do not have a negative impact on rattlesnake populations. Fact: there's no data or studies to support this claim. Unlike traditional game hunting, there is no monitoring or reporting to regulate this slaughter of snakes. Anecdotally, many hunters assert they have to go further every year to find snakes.
Well, because they're killing them all.
So, so every year, they're going further and further in order to get more and more. And, it's affecting more than just Sweetwater.
Right, because they're pulling them from other places.
Right. And then here's the anti-venom one saying, they collect venom for anti-venom there. So it says most anti-venom is produced from venom collected from captive colonies of rattlesnakes. Unsanitary conditions at roundups make their venom unsuitable for reputable medical companies. I got caught up on reputable.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's so true. Like, why would a company want to take venom from, like, that area we were in?
Right. Like, if I showed you videos of
the Roundup, there was no sort of, like...
Well, no, if I showed you videos of, like, a real venom lab, where people are doing this, like, for real.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, they don't just do it
the whole area is sterilized, It's a very protective
just like
area.
Anything else that you're using for any medical purpose.
Yeah, it's
ever.
Not in a coliseum and...
With dirt floors.
Right.
And a big fan. It's a
so
big fan,
bad.
though.
Just blowing around the dirt everywhere. Awesome.
The USDA, without Roundup's, livestock loss from rattlesnakes would put ranchers out of business.
That's
the USDA's cattle death loss report has logged no deaths from snakes in more than 2 decades.
I thought you said it was less than 5.
Ranchers report that snakes are not a threat to their livestock, who usually recover from snake bites even without treatment.
I thought you said it was 5.
No, that's for humans. But what they're saying,
livestock.
And that totally makes sense, because how do we get antivenom? We inject horses with it in order for them to build antibodies.
Right.
In other words, the horses, and I think they also do lambs or something like that, they obviously don't show much effect of the venom.
Right, because they're a fucking horse.
Yeah, because they're a fucking horse, or they're a fucking cow, which
right.
is a big motherfucker. So if they get, they can take a good snake bite.
Yeah.
Which totally makes sense now that I think about it.
Right, but in Sweetwater, you know.
But, it's hurting their economics.
So concerned.
It's hurting their economics. Police would be too busy answering
Babe, you gotta say that this is a myth before you say it.
Without roundups. Myth.
Yes.
What is the fact?
The fact is Arizona has more rattlesnakes than any other state in the U.S. and no rattlesnake roundups. The police spend very little of their time managing rattlesnakes. I mean, would people really call the police? If you call the police, hey, there's some rattlesnakes in my backyard, is that what people really do? Is that a thing? I wouldn't, what?
I don't know. I think there's people everywhere pretty much who, in places where they're prevalent, that you can call for nuisance, snakes and stuff like that. Just give them a call and they'll remove the snake. And most of the time, you're like, there's a rattlesnake on my front porch, and it might not be a rattlesnake, or...
I thought you call SPCA or something like that.
I don't know. There's different individuals who do it all over the place.
But the police would not be overwhelmed by the calls if there weren't roundups.
Right. And what else is happening in Sweetwater? I want to get so bad. Lots of domestics, I'm sure.
Babe, you gotta stop. This is not about the town of Sweetwater. Despite
no, that's
the lack of.
But really, I don't know. That's just a silly argument.
That's just on you.
Myth.
Are Roundups. You proud of me? Yes, I am, and I'm going to read it. Roundups are focused on education and safety, but see, I disagree because I think some are. So I don't think that should be under the myth thing. Because some are.
It's pertaining to Sweetwater, though. They don't say Sweetwater, but
they're pretty much talking about Sweetwater.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so fact. So. Roundup presentations are laden with myth and demonstrate unsafe handling techniques and showmanship. That's a word. Well, I like that word, showmanship.
Remember that guy was like, this is a display of us living with the rattlesnake. What? Remember when we first went in there and you're like, what do you mean? By killing it? Remember he was doing the presentation. We heard it over the loudspeaker.
I don't remember.
Oh, well, you made a comment about it. But he said, this is us demonstrating us, living with the rattlesnakes.
Oh, right. How they cohabitating.
Right,
yeah, right. And it's but you're not cohabitating. You're killing them.
You're not at all.
So, and it's they had that, they had the safety guy, but I feel like most...
Well, yeah, they had that educational guy who was giving out good information laden with the fact that they were... killing snakes.
Right. And I'm glad they had him, that's a good part of it, but that doesn't discount all the other awful shit they were doing at it.
Right.
Do we want to read the last
You're gonna read the
myth?
Other part?
Oh, the rest of the fact? Okay.
Yeah.
The safest way to behave in rattlesnake habitat is to respect the snakes, keep your distance.
Get any closer to the mic, by the way.
What?
Don't get closer to the mic.
Can I keep reading?
Yes.
Thank you. Keep your distance and watch where you put your hands and feet, none of which is discussed or demonstrated at roundups. No, they don't say anything about what happens when you come in contact with one because they expect you to just kill it.
Well, he did when they were doing the educational thing, being they're not very aggressive animals, more defensive.
Okay.
But even more reason not to kill them right in the pit over. You're saying all this stuff that may have
but then it's
validity,
hypocritical.
But
to what you're
then
doing.
You're doing this,
Right. Completely hypocritical to what you're doing, what you're showing people.
Right.
Okay, last one. Myth. Rattlesnakes are dangerous vermin, and people cannot coexist with them. Fact. Rattlesnakes are shy, gentle creatures. Stretch. That want nothing to do with us. There are fewer than 5 deaths in the U.S. from snake bites annually, including people who refuse treatment. Wait, pause.
Meaning, like,
why would anyone refuse treatment?
Let's get down with this shit.
Why would someone refuse treatment? That just sounds...
Right. Who refuses treatment? Go to Appalachia in North Carolina, and there's these there's these churches that there's a part in the Bible that says he shall take up serpents or some shit. So they decide that means that you collect venomous snakes and you preach and you dance with them in your hands, because that's what the Bible says.
Sounds like a cult.
It's a little, and then like it's a sect of like Christianity, but for some reason it's like mostly in Appalachia. I don't know why they started doing it. I'm not sure exactly the history, but and then they think they're impervious to snake bites because, you know, the Lord's on their side. So they get bit and then they refuse to get treatment.
And those are the 5 deaths a year.
I wouldn't say all of them, but at least one of them. There used to be a show on like Nat Geo or something about it.
No, see, those people shouldn't be. I'm glad they say who refuse, because those are just idiots.
That makes so much sense, though. But yeah, so they basically will catch the snakes and they try to like keep them alive. But even on the Nat Geo show, the guy was like, "Oh, my rattlesnake died this time and died that time," and well, dude, because you're keeping them in like a box under your bed and then fucking dancing around with them. And then, of course, they're not going to want to eat when you're...
But wait.
The fact that they don't get bit every day is like... it's a testament to how not aggressive, you know, venomous snakes can be.
That's number one. Also, if you're going to say, you know, like, we're protected by God, we're not getting bit, well, obviously someone has died from this, so what was their explanation then? Like... So I know, you know, someone has died from it. So why do they keep doing it after someone? Obviously, you're not protected by God. One of these people got bit and died.
Right, but they still see that as God decided that was their time. So that has nothing to do with the snake.
It was just, or I mean, it did, but that
you're refusing you're confusing religion with some like rational form of thinking. There's no rational thinking. Of course they're going to die. But they're not thinking like that because that whole blind faith thing. Yeah, Evan made a good point, is that rattlesnakes are evolving to rattle less because they find out every time they rattle, they die. So snakes that don't rattle live
longer.
Snakes that rattle die. And then there's I think it's Santa Clarita Island. I think it's off of Mexico. Mm-hmm. And they have a species of rattlesnake that completely lost its rattle.
Really?
So they like have like a little knob, and
to like measure it.
It used to be there, like a little
not
a rattle, but
like
just
a little
knob
stubby
on the end of their tail that doesn't make an audible sound.
So just over time, it just wow.
So it's just a mutation that.
So how would you ever tell if it's like stressed or whatever if it's not rattling?
It's just like a regular snake.
You can just look at okay, yeah.
Right. I mean,
that's just it's the marker. So can you even call it a rattlesnake?
Yes,
but it's not anymore.
There's some like DNA sequencing and stuff like that. And all pit vipers, if you look at them, look very similar to rattlesnakes, but they don't have rattles. There's some.
That's why they're pit vipers.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's things closely related that don't have rattles, but
well, I wonder.
You can tell that it's a rattlesnake. Like it has the little knob on the end of the tail, but only one. It doesn't have any others.
I wonder, like over time, if that will happen to other rattlesnakes in the world. Like if it'll
you would
go
think
further
so,
than
but
that island.
how long does that take?
Oh, year. We'll be dead.
Right.
Very, very interesting. All very.
Is that my phone? Did I do that?
It is. Yes, you left
it
on
I think
mild.
I usually turn off the sound.
I don't know.
know.
Did I finish the last of this?
No, I don't think so.
Most snake bites happen when people handle, approach, or try to kill the snake. Respect snakes. Keep your distance and watch where you put your hands and feet. This would prevent virtually all snake bites. Totally agree. You're gonna see the snake most of the time. Would you say that's a safe statement?
I don't go to the zoo and try to pet the lions.
What?
I think I would die if I tried to pet the lions. What I'm saying is that when you see a dangerous animal,
don't go.
Why do you fucking go to?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like most of the time, it's people approaching it. No one's just gonna be out and it's gonna pop up out of nowhere on them. Correct? Like you're gonna see it.
Mostly hold my beer. I'm gonna. I'm Steve Irwin.
Wait, it's like that commercial. That commercial for like either some hospital, some healthcare, and it's like the dads being like, "Watch me do this," or and they jump off. That's probably what it is. Like, watch me.
And it's something like 80% of snake bites are on hands.
Because they're trying to grab it.
How'd you get this snake bite on your hand?
All the way up here. Your hand's up here.
That's crazy.
Your hands aren't on the ground.
Right.
So you're just messing yourself up and asking. I don't want to say asking for it, but no one's asking to get bit.
Just give reasonable room, and if you have experience, handle them, but not with your damn hands.
Would you go handle one with your hands?
No.
I would hook it. Would you keep your distance? And respect
if I saw it in the
snake.
Wild, fuck no, I'd go up and take a picture of it, dude. What are you talking about?
That sounds dumb. That's not keeping your distance. Read the website, babe.
Oh, shit.
Well, what?
Within reasonable.
Well, what?
I would take a picture. You got it. The thing is, if you advance on the snake, it will defend itself. If you stay a reasonable distance, there's no reason for them to defend themselves, and they will just bluff or just chill.
Bluff? I don't know what that means.
Bluff meaning like if it's a rattlesnake, it will just rattle. Right. So it's like as long as you don't get within close to like striking distance or advance on the snake or tower over the snake, you're not going to have a snake running after you. It just makes no sense. They have no reason to think that they can defeat you
unless
as a
you're
giant human.
Like up in their face.
Exactly.
Oh, got it.
And then you saw like most of those snakes weren't even striking when that guy was kicking them.
Oh no, they were chilling.
Right.
They were totally fine.
Isn't that crazy to think like all those snakes in that pit that was filled up, like were in the wild somewhere?
And they all got them, and they were all gassed.
And like it happens all
the time.
Every year, dude. All those snakes.
Well, I hope one day I'll be able to say it doesn't happen anymore.
And I think that will be true.
But so what's the name of the organization that's out there right now?
So there's a few things, like there is the Rise Against Rattlesnake Roundups on Facebook. It's a Facebook group.
Okay.
If you want to go there. And then Advocates for Snake Preservation, they do some anti-Roundup stuff. If you want to look at their website, let me see. We were just looking at it. It is rattlesnakeroundups.com.
That is...
see what they did there?
That is confusing.
Well, it's because they want to try to get that web space as far as when you Google rattlesnake roundups.
So their website
they want
comes
to be
up.
one of the first ones that come up instead of Sweetwater.
Smart.
Or else you Google it and then Sweetwater comes up.
Right. They don't want people going there. They want people going to them.
Exactly. And getting the information, son.
God.
It's pretty smart, right?
That is smart when you think about it.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. Look up Sweetwater JCs if you want to see what you're working with. There used to be a thing where it's like, oh, write them a letter, tell them to stop, but that doesn't do anything.
Bullshit.
They don't give a fuck. And so I guess you can write Texas Parks and Wildlife. So if you just Google Texas Parks and Wildlife, and then you can write them a letter. Advocates for Snake Preservation have a filled out letter for you. If you just plug in your information, you can send it over to them.
That's good.
I think it's like a year out of date because they didn't update it yet. But all in all, it's just a matter of changing, getting the word out there and changing opinions slowly but surely.
Right. I'm just, And I don't expect that we're going to change, a bunch of people's opinions in Sweetwater. Because like we said, this is what they've grown up with. But
I think you can educate the younger.
Showing them that there's a better way. And there's a different and better way to do this.
Right. And more sustainable and maybe even cooler. You can learn more about the actual animal. And it just says like 19 seconds remaining.
Oh, Evan talked about U.S. Ark.
Oh, yeah. And also, U.S. Ark doesn't do...
overall, right.
Yeah, they don't do like rattlesnake roundup, anything like that. It's just keeping your rights to keeping snakes, which is like a whole different episode.
Right.
And then...
But it's always helpful
there's
to
like
see them.
A whole bunch
of organizations.
Yeah, but there's really not many people tackling rattlesnake roundups directly.
Mm-hmm. Because there's just so much other stuff, there's so much other
stuff. There's so many other things to
fight for.
I know, it's so hard, especially in snakes, because there's such a misunderstanding about everything.
Stigma.
Is that a word? Understandment?
Nope. I was just going to say stigma on top of your word. If your word is not a real word.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to see. Oh, it said 10 viewers?
Yeah.
Not as many as last time. I don't know. Anything else?
Fucking, 11 o'clock at night, 12 Eastern.
Yeah, it's late.
It's late, man.
And daylight savings time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's tired.
Time to say deuces.
It's that time.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we have to plug?
Plug yourself, man.
On my YouTube channel, man. That's where the videos are coming.
Plug yourself.
And then just share videos like that and share anything. I hate to say anti-Roundup because it makes me seem like
pro education.
Pro rattlesnake Roundup reform.
There you go.
Yeah, to be PC, because we're all about being PC.
So PC, let me tell you.
Yeah.
We're trying to get the word about changing it. We already plugged the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Just anyone who wants to learn more about it.
And I think Danny from Urban Jungles Radio, Danny and Andy, they do a bunch of stuff on rattlesnake roundups, and they interviewed Jack Bibby and all that cool shit. So it's been
getting out there.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Here you go. That's
Get more word.
Now we get to talk about not fucked up things next time.
Yeah, I don't know what that's gonna be. I feel like we always end up talking about fucked up things, and I was trying to not say the word fuck, man. You say it so much.
I know. I don't even mean to say it.
Yes, you do.
There's lots of emphasis that's needed.
Okay, let's get off of this. Yes, goodbye.
Thanks everyone for listening and watching, and all the people. Love you guys.
Do you really?
Yeah,
you really love people?
I love people.
Mm-hmm.